Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the c-f-dalton podcast. Just a couple announcements. Thank you, everyone who's supported the website and the podcast. So far, we've had a couple of really good reviews so far, and I really want to thank everyone for that. And today's going to be a little bit of a mishmatch. I've been reading a couple of things from James Allen and from Friedrich Nietzsche, and we're going to get a little bit deep today. In 1895, Friedrich Nietzsche pronounced that God was dead. He pronounced this in Esse Homo, and I think a lot of people take that out of context. I don't think that he pronounced God dead in the sense that God as the divine being himself was dead. I believe that he pronounced that the mores of God, the lessons that he taught in Christianity itself, was dead. And when we look into his ideas around that time frame, he was right. We were looking into war over in Germany. We were looking into the rise of commercialism and industrialism in America, and ideas of psychoanalysis were on the rise. And I'm very curious of what he would think of today's age with our ideas of uber commercialism and self-aggrandizement, particularly in the millennial age. And then we get into a couple ideas from James Allen, which really clash with this uber hippie movement of life is about an adventure of finding yourself, finding who you are, searching for that inner spark, that moment where life finds you, where life clashes into your soul and you blossom like a rose or something like that, which is complete nonsense. I believe that when we look through ideas like James Allen, when he says, the mind is everything, what you think, you become, that is the true way that we find ourselves. We find ourselves by creating ourselves. And I think that goes back to Friedrich Nietzsche's idea that God is dead, is because people stopped trying to incorporate the morals of their church, their morals of what God thought was pleasing in Christianity and Islam and Judaism, whichever belief system they had, whatever God they prayed to. They stopped incorporating that into their lives. Therefore, that personal God, that personal belief system was no longer a part of their lives. Therefore, that belief system was just no longer there anymore. And we think of so many things, materialistic things, rather, are necessary for life, that I think there comes to a point where a concept from Edward Carlyle called via negativa, meaning the taking away of personal property, may be the answer to refilling our life with personal philosophy, may be the best way to reinstill some of these concepts. Maybe instead of filling our lives with mindless television or mindless activity that doesn't fill us, perhaps we could spend more of our time reading some of these ideals that we want to instill into our lives, or instilling some of our time into a hobby that we thoroughly enjoy, something that we actually find interesting. And perhaps that would actually coincide with some of the ideas that we want to incorporate into our daily life, into our daily routines, and maybe make us better people in the process. Going back to James Allen, life is about creating ourselves, not about finding ourselves in the millennial and post-millennial age that's become so popular all of a sudden. The mind is truly everything. What we think is what we become. If we think that we're a loser, we're truly destined to be a loser. If we think that we're going to be this self-entitled asshole, that's really what we're going to become. And I think that's what Nietzsche and that's what James Allen and that's what Edward Carlyle were trying to get at. It's that we have to be diligent in crafting who we are. We have to be disciplined if we truly want to be great. Being great is difficult. When we look at Benjamin Franklin, he created what he calls the 13 Virtues chart. I'm going to see if I can attach a PDF chart to this podcast just to kind of give you an idea of it. And if I can't, I'll attach a PDF copy of it to my Facebook page, so just so you have a copy of it to look at. And Franklin would actually chart this every day. I have a version of it that I'll attach mine too, just to show it to you. And he felt that if he didn't achieve whatever virtue he felt that he needed to achieve that day, he would put a dot on. And that discipline, he believed that was what helped made him a better man. He never completely achieved his dream of one quarter of the year, not having any dots on his chart, but he felt that disciplined struggle made him a better man in the process. I have a question that maybe you need to ask yourselves. I had to ask myself this when I first heard about this. Do you have the discipline to look at yourself every single day and try to see, am I good enough of a person to be who I want to bend myself to my own will, not the world? Do I have enough willpower to bend myself to my will, to serve my purpose for me? It sounds so simple, but it's incredible just how much effort it takes to control your own mind. And even some of the greatest men in history have had such a hard time even doing such a simple thing that we see in our lives. Going back to Friedrich Nietzsche, he believed in another concept called amor fati, meaning a eternal loop. This is his way of trying to discipline his own mind. He believed that what he would do is, before he would do a big decision, he would think, if I make this big decision, and this was the last decision I would ever make, and I had to repeat this over and over again for the rest of my life, for all eternity, would I be happy with it? And it's a terrifying thought, but it does help with that thought of, can I do what I'm about to do and live with it for all eternity? There's so many little tips and tricks, and I could probably go for hours about it. It goes back to that interbellum, that war within, that idea of disciplining one's own mind to be what a person wants to be, bending someone's mind to their own will to serve their own purpose for what that person wants to be. And it's a hard life, and there are days where you feel absolutely invincible because you are achieving your morning routine, you are achieving your evening routine, you are achieving all of your goals in that day, and you're doing it in such a record time that you have so much free time in that day that you think, you know what, I'm gonna do even more than what I'm expecting of myself. And then the next day comes and you miss your workout, and then you have 4 things you have to move to the next day, and there's 6 other things you have to do the next day, and you feel just absolutely horrible because then there are other things that incorporate it and you just feel horrible. And it's a hard thing to do, to discipline yourself, but the struggles of living a strenuous life, as Theodore Roosevelt told us, are the benefits of knowing that even on your worst day, you live a life that is so structured that it is 10 times more effective than those around you. And you know that you are capable of dealing with more pressure and more strain than probably 10 other people that you know. And knowing, at least stepping into that attempt of knowing what you want to be. Don't ask that question, what is my life's purpose? Because that's a cop-out. It's a stupid question. It's a horrible question. It's an unfair question to you, because what's my life's purpose? No one knows what their life's purpose. As a Catholic, there's only one person who knows your life's purpose, and that's our Lord in heaven. And he doesn't like to tell secrets. You need to ask, what kind of life do I want to live? What kind of lifestyle do I want to live? From there, you can actually craft a life. And this may be my heavily skewed opinion. If you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. But if you have that idea in your head, then you can start crafting at least 3 thoughts of Okay, I know what I want to live, what kind of life I want to live. Have at least 3 ideas of, okay, I want to have a life that's comfortable. I want to be able to retire in Florida on the beach. Okay, how am I going to do that? Okay, I want to become a banker. Okay, I know that. How am I going to do that? Okay, I need to, step 1, go to college and get a business degree. Step 2, go get a job at a bank. Step 3, work my ass off for the next 35 years. And keep that thought in mind and hold it dear to your heart. And keep that thought and never waver from it. These are simple ideas, and they're supposed to be simple. What a man thinks, he becomes. If you think, no, that's too simple, it has to be difficult, then your life is going to be difficult. When you think things in simple fashion, things are going to be simple. When you believe that things are going to be difficult and choppy and forsaken and horrendous, well, guess what? Your life is going to be that way. It's called the law of attraction. Your mind is going to subconsciously create those ideas. Think simple. Life will start becoming simple. If you think that things are going to be frustrating, guess what? You're going to start looking for things that are frustrating. Do yourself a break. Give yourself a break. Think simple. Think positive. Think straightforward. I'd like to thank you for listening to me rant again, and I hope you tune in next week to listen to me rant a little bit some more. And I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and God bless. Thank you.